Hi, welcome to another video on my pneumatic hand and robotic arm, which is being controlled or leveled by this gear, which still does not entirely work the way I like, but so far so good. And last time I changed the pivoting point here in an attempt to make it automatic, well, or more appropriately to have it controlled by a motor. I had to flip it so that I can actually control it. And the problem now is that when I tried it last time, this motor is quite set up quite flexibly, and that is a problem because apparently the weight is such that you need some force to pivot it, and this flexibility rattles over it. So I need to change that. And now that I have moved the arm, I find it difficult to turn it back, which is a problem as well. So I need to find out why that is. And the tubes. Now I found out why. If I push this a little bit off, it turns out it moves better. So that is logical reasoning. So one way it works and the other way it didn't. And I have to get used to that. I should use this motor to pivot it, and that's another thing, of course. But first things first, I have to make this setup better. Because this won't work. And a way to improve it is using blocks like this. I see here something wrong. And that is going to be a point, because do I have those? And I'll have to find it. So let's first see how this indeed works. I'm going to use the FT diagnosis interface, and this one is connected to the second motor on the second motor output of the slave. So first select the slave, and then ouch, that is okay. That way it works, as you can see. It works, but one way only. So the question is, should I use two motors then? I'll have to find that out. And how far can I turn it without too much hassle, because now I had to put the maximum speed to the motor to get it to turn. Even one step from the maximum speed didn't work. So that is food for thought. Anyway, let's see how this works out. Apart from this stability, I find another problem, which is not really visible. So I'll show with two loose parts. Preferably this is the optimal solution. However, when looked closely, the situation is like this. So it turns, but it only grabs half of the available surface, and now it catches all of it. So not only do I need to make it less flexible, I need to lower it a bit as well. And I hope that this combination will solve this. So let's first lose this in any way possible. Okay, that's one part. Second part. And then the obvious challenge is to get it out of there. That's one. That's two. So let's see how this will work out, if it works out. So, and you see that it slides away. A bit. So it is less flexible, that is for one thing. And it looks like it is completely covering the whole surface. It is now, and let me show you with the loose part, it is now completely like this. And yeah, it still has flexibility, but let's see how it works out. And again, using the diagnosis. I hear something, but okay, I had to push it a little bit. And let's try again. Okay, that's one direction. And that's the other direction. So it looks like this is actually working. And then it is, I think, time to put this into software. So let's do the software bit. So the question is, with the motors all depending on the switches, where should I put this pivoting motor? the last motor I've used is the first motor on the interface extension, which is 5. It counts on. The interface has 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, so the first motor output on the extension is number 5. This pivoting motor is the second on the interface extension, so it becomes number 6. And it does not have a switch, it just runs so far. So I am inclined to put it here. So I say T set motor 5, no 6. I do it clockwise, and then I have to decide for a speed. Going back to the diagnostics interface, which is not active right now. I can't select slave 1 because it's not active, and you see here all the speed settings, and I had to use 7 and 8 to get it working. So that means that the arm is of considerable weight. Here it didn't do anything, or not as much as I could find, so I have to put 7 or 8. So let's do 7. Then I will let it sleep, because it has to do it for some time, and then going the other way. Again 6, now it's counterclockwise, and again speed 7, and also for 3 seconds. So let's do this. Python, and then the program version 2, and it runs very nicely. With some whining of a motor. However, after that it doesn't do anything anymore. It just yells 10 is 1, 10 being this, and here it yells direction is left. Where does it yell that? Direction is left, here. So this is the arm lifting else if, and point is it doesn't move anymore from here, which means that it only does that in the beginning. I'll cancel this and do it again, and the arm moves nicely for 3 seconds. It moves back, and that's it, and then it goes straight back to digital 10. So this means that it does it do once and not continuously, but let me show you on camera. With the first coding for the new motor done, let me actually show you what happens. And you may hear a high whining of a motor, which is actually caused by, let me go here, it's actually caused by this. And now it moves again. And last time I solved this winding by pressing this a little bit forward. And now this motor is a little bit jumping over it. So I'm not quite sure what is happening now. It wants to go one way, but let me help it. Does this help or doesn't it? Okay, I'll pull this switch. It is not this motor anyway. I'm not sure which motor it is, but it keeps running, and that's not exactly the intention. So let me put it in another direction. Okay, let's do it again. This is not what I had envisioned. It's running and it's running again. So let me push it. This is very strange behavior I didn't had in mind. So let me take it off and let me put it here by hand. See what happens again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, okay. What happens is that this motor isn't staying on, it is being pushed away somehow. Not in one direction, but not in both directions, but just in one direction. And let me put the camera a little bit here. So this is happening. Okay, that it shouldn't do. So what I think I need to do, there's a notch in here to make construction that this won't happen. And this is a result of what can happen when experimenting. Unexpected things happen, and the first test went very well, the second test went very well, and now things happen that are very strange and not according to the algorithm. So let's construct something that keeps it in place. I've made a little construction here, hoping that it would or will improve the stability. So let's try it. Okay, so that is very clear now. I have to hand, but it also proves that it isn't necessarily this part. Okay, let me stop this. It also shows that since I can avoid it by holding the motor, that this is still not rigid enough. Let's do it. That is one part. And see. This is very well done without my manual support, but the other part isn't. And that gives a clear hint that it has nothing or not much to do with this new construction, but that it has to do with this construction, which has to be improved somehow. And I have yet to find out the way how to, so it is it ain't easy to find it out. But then again, what's life without a challenge? Let's do it again. It is clearly the counterclockwise that gives the problem. And then also the 3 seconds, because it hardly moves 3 seconds counterclockwise, and that's another issue. So while the coding is correct, the first test showed that it did it wonderfully. The second and subsequent tests show that it is not really working. So I can just remove this. This construction didn't work out the way I wanted. Let's do without. That's one thing. Yeah. So that's clear. No, thank you, I won't do it. It is this flexibility that causes it. And that is too bad, but I will have to find a way to stabilize it. So that was the focus for today. The rest, I assume, still does work. So without this last motor, I guess everything still works. Work needs to be done on this gear because of lack of space that it takes here. It now comes to here, but I want it to all the way, and that cannot be done with this construction, not yet at least. So thank you for watching, and to be continued.